A little embarrassing to start on that. Okay, I am very sleepy today. There's a fucking fly. I'm gonna kill it with my bare hands. So I'm gonna try to go quick and be just to the point and not really get into it a lot. I'm gonna quickly share my stream on my social media. Also check and see if Discord. I should do these things before I do stream, but when I hit stream, it becomes infinitely easier to fix these things. Real quick things I will discuss while I'm just kind of getting stuff set up again here is I did a lot of like riffing and brainstorming today and got some stuff set up pretty good. I'm gonna start posting on Substack. It's a delightful program. I know people that I really like already use it. I've been looking for something that's kind of an alternative to Facebook, so I'm gonna start out by cross-posting my posts from Facebook to Substack. But immediately I went over to Substack, and I actually can just pull it up. When I immediately went over to Substack, I decided to take a article that I had been working on, or an article, like a long form, a long ranting post that I had posted on Facebook, and turn it into an article, at least a little bit. And after I got it on here, it's like, oh, it's so easy and it looks so good. So I did an article here. You can see it on my Substack. 13 plus years of monopoly on music streaming, no innovation to show for it. Basically, the summary of this whole post, I'm not going to get into a lot right now, is that Last FM is delightful. With some screenshots from that, pictures of like how they just like track every song you listen to individually, and then they are like it actually knows what you like as a result. It has a very comprehensive library that works off of these things called Scrabbles. Scrabbles are just like when you play the song on YouTube Music, it scrabbles over to last.fm and says, you listen to this song. So that's pretty cool. All right. I like all that. We're into that. I did a whole article, not a very long article, but a short article about how Spotify sucks and YouTube Music fucks, with including a couple of good links that I would recommend checking out. Pretty good stuff. Okay, that was not a big deal. Moving on. So I started on Substack, and I am going to be doing two things. One, I use a kind of like an AI assisted script of sorts, not to tell me what to say, but to present me with all this information and the links and blah blah blah. Because I don't actually want to give you, I mean, I'm gonna give you my opinion for sure, but I don't want you to think that I'm just spitting my own biased nonsense. Really shouldn't have this open on my stream. Good Lord. We will learn, I swear, to be better and smarter. We're going to be done doing whatever I'm doing so fast, so soon. This, please, Christ, this is kind of hard to deal with. There we go. Okay. Just want to go post my stream link real quick, and then I'm going to get all into this politics. I'll get all about it, all up in it. I'm going to call someone a fascist, probably. It can't be helped. Yep, in the future, I'll be smart enough to not do this on stream. Okay, we're fucking live, boys and girls. My name is Dakota. This is my independent media broadcast. I'm gonna go using this sort of guideline I have, read through this and kind of see what's going on, and then I'll click over to links and stuff. Okay. Also, yeah, I wanted to say I did start my Substack. That's gonna be a big part of what I'm doing because not only am I gonna cross post my Facebook posts over to Substack, and have more coverage, but I'm also going to. I already took a post I did on Facebook and doubled down on it and expanded on it, made it more of an article, less of it just a rambling post. So I think that's par for the course, frankly. That I'm going to treat Substack a little more seriously and put a little more effort into it and in my writing. Um, Two things are going to happen. One, this right here, this sort of AI generated script that I'm using to like have a list of topics to talk about and things, and like give me all this. Like, basically, this exists solely to plug me into what's going on today, give me topics. I even included like pronunciations of foreign locations, which some of them are just, like I know how to say Hormuz, but sometimes you don't know. Sometimes they say like, is there anyone here that's like that? Last episode it was the Aqaba airport, which I'm like, I don't know how to say that, so helps out. Whatever. The point of this is this is my little AI assisted newsletter. It's very helpful. I'm going to use it to run the stream. In this newsletter, you've got breakdowns of current events in categories, sections. You've got sort of like individual like pieces of context and the literal source to all of them. Not to mention the source. I've gone through and programmed the AI to do this. They're told it to do all these things. The source is, say, CBS News, center mainstream. So literally, you aren't getting it from a biased news source. You're getting it from a place that is just a compilation of information. Um, it's going to ideally have left and right voices and independent media voices. So I'm trying to avoid the corporate media propaganda bullshit. Um, Last thing I was gonna say about that is, I'm gonna start doing a thing where at the end of my stream, I'm gonna post this with a small disclaimer saying this is an AI assisted, sort of newsletter and script for my stream, basically so that if people don't feel like watching the stream or they can't, they don't have time, whatever, they can at the after my stream, I will post this and send it out as an email via my Substack. So it's the kind of thing where it's like if you want the information I have, but you don't find yourself watching like an hour and a half long stream, or even like a VOD of a stream, or even like a clipped version of the VOD, then this will exist as like written content that I will send out at the end of every one of these news segments. So the point of what I'm saying is, um, this will be sent out at the end of this stream, and that will be the workflow going forward. I keep looking over there. I shouldn't look over there. I should look over here. It's hard to do. Okay. So we're just going to start. And like I said, after I'm done with this, I will add this to my Substack with a disclaimer that it's not my written work and send that out as a kind of I'm gonna do like probably 3 times a week a little newsletter of what's going on, sources, those sources' biases. This particular newsletter is tailored to both current events, like geopolitical events. This is the number one thing, sort of like mainline news. Down below, I'm actually having it keep an eye on the midterms and the polling. Last week we talked about Abdullah Syed and Haley Stevens that are dueling up in Michigan. Today we're talking about Graham Plattner and obviously how he has dropped out of the race and people are looking for a replacement and they may have found one. So we'll cover that. And also, as an Arkansas native and resident, I want to give a leftist perspective on Arkansas happenings and politics. So I have a section specifically dedicated to Arkansas at the end of every section. We'll go over that. We won't go over it in too great detail, so it's not so polarizing. Okay. So we are going to start here. So President Trump announced on Wednesday, which is today, that the U.S. military will target one Iranian bridge or power plant for every vessel attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, following an 11th consecutive night of U.S. airstrikes over Tehran. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations foreign ministers in Manila, warning that Iranian toll demands in international waters set a dangerous Iranian toll demands in international waters set a dangerous global precedent. Um, for sure, it's a threat to capitalism. It's a threat to their control. They're not having it. But I stand by this thing where if they wanted to level Iran and take control, they'd have done it. So there's a reason they can't do it. From what I've heard people say that, while they can throw bombs all day long, Iran's pretty like prepared for that. And the reality is, we will not do a ground war, which we shouldn't. I'm anti-war, but odds are this is not going to go the way they want it to go. I guess is what I'm getting at. Okay. I think I do have, yeah. So today, Trump said on Truth Social that any new Iranian strike on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz will result in the U.S. military targeting one bridge or power plant. Now, I gotta tell you, personal values, I'm a leftist. I don't think that capital is higher quality than human life, or like human quality of life or whatever, I guess. So as they say, we're gonna strike a power plant or a bridge. All I can wonder is, you know, how big of an impact will that make? I mean, imagine living in America and suddenly, due to geopolitical conflicts that are just have nothing to fucking do with you, the Bull Shoals Dam is hit suddenly. And it's like, all right, there's one bridge. We're gonna keep them coming. All I'm saying is destroying civilian infrastructure, because a country is threatening capital, uh, is just a little out of it's not in line with my values. Let's put it that way. Okay. And yeah, I mean, I think we have an article of that, but it's nothing special. It's just a dang all. I hit the wrong button, so sorry. I got it right here. Trump threatens to bomb a bridge or power plant for every ship attack in the Strait of Hormuz. Wednesday, to be threatened to bomb and destroy an Iranian bridge or power plant for every new attack by Iran on a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. After 11 nights of bombing, the U.S. military insisted the straits remain open. Strait remains open. My sleeping pills are kicking in, so I'm a little faded. Here we go. But Iran continues attacking ships in the Strait, as well as Gulf states, while its Houthi allies threaten the Middle East's other shipping gateway, the Bab el Mandeb Strait. Now, that would have been a great. I could have used a little bit of a help there, a little pronunciation guide there. But yeah, the Houthi allies in the Gulf states. No, I'm sorry. Iran, the Houthi allies are threatening another shipping gateway, basically saying we're going to enact greater control. We'll say they're evil terrorists. I'll say that's just good. That's just good. That's just good business. Okay. President Trump attended a dignified transfer Wednesday for U.S. forces killed in Iran strikes in recent days. In total, 18 U.S. service members have been killed since the start of the war. So the very unnecessary war has killed 18 U.S. citizens for reasons we can't identify, but they're heroes, and so like just like shed a tear and don't question why they died in the first place. Oh, we go on. Italy wants to facilitate talks between Israel and Lebanon. Good luck with that. I believe in you, Italy. Uh, Tehran requested negotiations. Iran says no, we didn't. That's classic. We're back to where we were, where you've got one side saying that's not even real, and one side being like we're having good talks and blah blah blah. It's just I don't know. It's all a joke. Iran. I don't know. Rubio. It was Rubio. Okay, I'm just gonna quote. We're gonna start. It's unclear. I'm assuming this is a quote from Marco Rubio, just based on the context. If we create a precedent in the Middle East where a nation state can decide that they are going to control an international waterway, charge a toll, and if you don't pay them, blow up your ships, we've created a very dangerous precedent, which will repeat itself in other parts of the world, including in this region. I think this is a great example of how the like America and like the general like West, like not even just the West, but like the global capitalist structure is so sure of itself and so um, entitled that they're like, how dare you threaten this waterway, we will destroy your whole country. It's a very dangerous precedent for anyone to affect capital globally. And that is the worst thing you can do. And so we have got to kill all y'all. Now, granted, if we could kill them all, I think we would have done that by now. There's a reason why we don't do that. I'm not recommending that we do that. Just saying that, I don't know. We talk a lot about like leveling them and leaving them with nothing, and then we just don't do it. We can't do it. It's very strange. Okay. Rubio, yep, he's basically saying, I don't like it. I don't like what Iran's doing. I don't, and that's, that's kind of his vibe. There are those eager to entice, sorry, goddamn. There are those eager to incite each party to keep the conflict going, but we aren't one of those, says Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov. Moscow would like to see a quick settlement between the US and Iran. We'd like to see it stop. It impacts the global economy, and Russia is part of the global economy, Lavrov said, adding that Moscow is interested in stable global energy prices to pursue long-term economic policies. Kind of going through a list of people being like, we don't like this war and love it to end. We got Australian foreign minister. good stuff. Yeah, ironically, China, Rubio and allies reaffirmed commitment to counter growing Chinese influence. Rubio met with counterparts in the four-nation Quad partnership, which is made of the U.S., Australia, India, and Japan. They discussed a maritime and transnational security, among other issues, and issued a joint statement after the talks that reaffirmed their commitment to maritime security initiatives aiming to counter China's growing influence in the region. I would argue that the reason China has started to accrue, undue influence in the region is because of this whole conflict. Because they literally were like, if we don't use our oil reservoirs to sort of bail out the global economy, then we can't make money. So it's like, I don't know, man. You create a situation in which it empowers China, and then you're mad about it. It's like you did that. Like China seems pretty content to kind of be isolationist and just kind of sit over there and vibe and do their own thing. I'm not saying they don't do bad shit. I'm not saying they don't do war crimes. I'm not saying that it's a perfect goddamn utopia over there. But it is very much this thing where they take all of their capitalist gains, put it back into their own economy. You get like, what is not actually communism, but is similar in theory, but also once again super not what that is. Basically, they're too capitalist to even begin to call them communists, but they use a lot of their capitalist gains to reinvest into themselves, which is why they have like the high speed rail and blah blah blah. So you get this interesting effects when you got a company, sorry, a country, a country that yeah, I don't know. You have a country that does capitalism very well. Someone has used the term trade maxing before, and we all know like to make made in China stickers on every damn thing in the world. And I guess the point of what I'm getting at is, um, God, I'm losing the track here. The point is, they do capitalism well, and the reason that they're so involved and kind of profiting and getting an upper hand here due to this whole straight from moose thing is because they're so responsible and so ingrained in the world economy that I don't have the article here. I could go find it. I saw it a couple days ago about how China had essentially used its massive oil reservoirs to essentially help bail out the global economy because we're well overdue for this whole straight thing to start to really affect distribution and American pockets for sure. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Moving on. China has influence because we let them have influence and we create situations in which they can have influence. So it's just, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's stupid and it's our fault. All right. At least partially our fault. Let's see. I'm too tired. Close tab. Okay. I think we're moving on to. Let's look over here real quick. We'll kind of glaze over this stuff real fast. So Trump said, "Yeah, we'll destroy a bridge or power plant for every one ship destroyed because capital is worth more than human lives." Marco Rubio met with the Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and the I just read what that was. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations. To basically state that Iranian demands to collect tolls in international waterways threaten global maritime stability. I mean, for sure. So probably don't start wars in their territory, and then start making a bunch of demands as if you can show up, fuck shit up, kill a bunch of children, and then be like, and if you don't do this, then we're gonna. It's like what? You're gonna kill more children? This is what you do. Okay. We got the European Union Aviation Safety Agency added Jordan to its list of restricted airspaces. Basically, Jordan is too dangerous for the European Union to be flying around over there. Okay, Marco Rubio said some shit. What did he say? I don't really want to watch Marco Rubio a bunch, but let me just quickly have a look and see if this man say anything relevant. It's a very short clip, but let's watch the whole thing.
Great job in hosting this conference, which in addition to being so critically important to the region, provides us the opportunity to interact with so many countries. It's also important to be
Audio is awful. I may pause and kind of. So Marco says, "Great job with the conference. This is a critical issue."
country that has deep ties to the United States in many, many ways.
I don't know, man. He's just like on some political shit. The funny thing is, Marco Rubio is one of the more like interventionist and kind of like hawkish. Like he really likes to look around at foreign nations and go, how about you, Cuba? Let's fuck up Cuba. So it's just funny to hear him sitting there in a room full of like foreign diplomats being like, yes, much respect for you and your, because he has to. There's no like cult leader here to hold his hand. It's like he has to be respectful and normal here. And if Trump was there, he could be a little more nasty. Okay. That was all there was to that. I really don't care. Marco Rubio's a fuck, and the Iran war continues, and we have no intention of stopping. Nothing new there, really. Uh, just a bunch of lies and propaganda and violence and a waste of our tax dollars. So let's move on. Well, okay, we're going on to the polling. Exciting stuff with the polling, honestly. Not gonna lie. So, in Maine's high stakes U.S. Senate race, union logger and former state lawmaker Troy Jackson emerged as the Democratic consensus candidate following the withdrawal of Graham Plattner. Meanwhile, national generic congressional ballot polling shows that Democrats maintain a 4 to 5% point lead over Republicans just in general. So, it's looking good for Democrats in Maine almost no matter who runs. I think myself and a lot of people want essentially a clean enough replacement of Graham Plattner who's not a rapist. That's the main thing we're looking for. So that's what's going on there. We'll read a little more. Maine Democrats rally around former state Senate President and logger Troy Jackson. Basically, Maine Democrats light Troy Jackson as a replacement to Graham Plattner. That's a good thing. Bernie Sanders previously called on Graham Plattner to withdraw from the race after his allegations came out, prompting state party leadership to reorganize support behind a blue-collar labor candidate. Yep. And then the national general congressional ballot is showing that Democrats have got about a fucking it's not quite 6%, but it's like five something. Pretty good lead on the dang Republicans. We'll quickly go over to some stuff here. We got the polling. I had this up. I had this up the other day. Nothing special here, really, besides just showing that Republicans either are kind of either technically they're going up a little bit, but not by much. Definitely the gap between the blue and the red there is pretty profound. And if you look at this, blue just keeps rising. Blue was at an all-time low in January. I wonder why. But it's just been rising ever since. It was just to tell you that, obviously what's happening in the right is something people are steadily losing interest in. Whereas that's kind of not what we're seeing with the dang old blue line there. I'm getting very tired. We're gonna move on. We just want to do this. I'm gonna just fucking close. Okay, I'm just cleaning house real quick. Here we go. Troy Jackson emerges as likely Senate pick for Maine Democrats. Troy Jackson, a former Maine lawmaker and fifth generation logger from the North Maine woods, is likely to replace Graham Plattner after his whole situation. Uh, yeah, see, this sucks. This is a big problem with the Graham Plattner thing. Is like it's just like, okay, man, you did this sexual assault. It's pretty heinous, pretty bad, and the deal is leftists won't vote for a rapist, and I don't blame them. It wouldn't stop the right at all. Like at all. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying that is what it is. Like the reality is, leftists have a little bit higher convictions about their morals, so they're not going to vote for a rapist. The right would never give a fuck about that at all. However, the worst thing, not the worst thing, a shitty thing about this, the thing that really sucks and really like, no matter how much you want to go, oh well, Graham was PTSD, oh he blah blah blah, yeah, but his campaign lied a bunch. Like even here, they denied that allegation, and then he left. Why'd you leave? It didn't happen, right? Like people will say shit all the time. Is there just a certain thing someone can say in the campaigning where you go, and that one was too much? So it would hurt my feelings a lot. Can't take it. I doubt it. I think that the reality is that one came out, that allegation came out. I believe her name. I don't want to fuck her first name up. Her last name was Rassicot, the woman who basically said that Graham, and I'm not, this is what she said. This is what's being taken very seriously. Not really confirming or denying this. I'm just saying what's been said. That Graham was really drunk one night. He asked to come over, and then she either didn't respond. I think she said no. Actually, she said no, I'm good or whatever. And he came in. He came over anyway. She didn't even know until she heard him come in the house. He was drunk and not sort of taking no for an answer. And basically, I won't get into any more detail besides that. And I'll just say that she said two things. One, it was clear to me at that point that this wasn't consensual. Like I didn't have a say in this. Firstly, secondly, she's also on the record of saying I really didn't want to come out about Graham because I like his politics. So it's complicated, but the reality is, the biggest problem here, besides like what you did 3 years ago, was immoral and a crime. Um, is the fact that they didn't deny it vehemently. Um, I don't want to say deny it vehemently. They've never just been like, yeah, for sure. And I get it. Like honestly, if I'm just thinking about it, it's probably this thought or belief that if Graham gives it some time, he can pop back up, and it'll either be forgotten or it'll be like, oh, that's old news, or you know what I mean. Like eventually, if he leaves his placed in the public eye where it's at and doesn't make it any worse, there's a chance. I'm not recommending this. I'm not saying I don't know. It's a feature, but there's a chance where he eventually pops back up and is like, yeah, that was fucked up, wasn't it? Fucking fuck the rich, like round two. I could see it happening. So I don't know. Point is, back to the point. Troy Jackson's the new guy, and he's all right. He's not so bad. I should probably pull up a video of him, I guess. Yeah, damn. Hold on. So Plattner's departure, yep, sparked a wave of potential candidates eager to prove to Mainers they could take on a longtime Republican, Senator Susan Collins. By Sunday, the field had largely been cleared after Jackson supporters spent the weekend securing hundreds of delegates who promised to back him at the upcoming state convention. Under a never-before-used system to replace Plattner, delegates will vote Saturday in Bangor on a new Senate nominee. Out of the 601 delegates who will gather this weekend, Jackson's campaign says they have 481 delegates committed to supporting it. Basically, it just looks really good for Troy Jackson so far. And even if it's not Troy Jackson, Democrats are looking good. Problem is, if Troy Jackson doesn't get it, then Susan Collins will, and she'll run against, I guess, some Republican, I believe. And if she wins, nothing happens. If she loses, probably nothing happens. It's just this thing of like, Susan Collins is going to pretend to be Democratic and pretend to be like a very common sense, a very uh, obvious backup option or whatever. But for me, I'm like, no, because you represent you represent the system more than the people. That's why we're having this whole debate. And yeah, I'm getting very sleepy. So we're gonna just wrap it up. Basically, Troy Jackson, this man, not the most charismatic man ever, from what I've been told, but he's doing a great job. So hopefully that is good enough for him to win. And we'll keep an eye on that. That's the main thing about the polling today. We moved away from Haley Stevens and Abdul Assad. We got some stuff going down in Maine. All right, close that tab. This is Bernie Sanders talking about how he wishes Graham would have fucked off probably faster than he did. That's okay. Moving on. We are looking at. Sorry, this was some UK labor union stuff. I'm not saying that's not relevant. It's not what I'm looking to cover today. Maybe we'll come back to that. Strike, labor strike. There is some stuff going on in the UK has to do with like labor rights. That's what I know. Moving on. All right, back to the newsletter. Newsletter, we got. Okay, in Arkansas public schools are experiencing their steepest enrollment decline in 20 years during the nationwide expansion of universal school vouchers under Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders' Learns Act. Now, my understanding, of this situation to some extent, not the whole story, is that Arkansas, I guess via the Learns Act in particular, has in recent years been incentivizing private school by way of offering like these vouchers and stuff. But in doing so, it's like they're not. It's not like they're splitting their funds between private and public schools. It's like no, private schools are getting an undue boost, economic boost, and public schools can just go fuck themselves. Arkansas doesn't want intelligent, well-read, well-versed, very literate people unless they're going to be Republican Congress people. So, it's just a bummer. But I will say, Fred Love, the sort of he's I can't remember. I don't remember if he already won or if that's coming up. I'm kind of blanking on that. I remember him doing well. I'm pretty sure he did well. Is doing well. I don't know. So whatever. Fred Love, he is someone who's running for Democratic Arkansas governor, which would just be so insane if we ever got that. We'll see. Um, and he talks about a couple things that I appreciated. Actually, I see a couple things here he talks about that I think are up his alley. Um, this is all about the Learns Act. We won't focus too much on this. Fred Love is an upcoming Democratic congressperson. I believe he's running, not won yet, but running and doing well in Arkansas as the Democratic candidate. I think. I cannot remember. That being said, Fred Love, it's pretty good. And I'm about to wrap this up and be done with it, but I'll say my piece and I'll be done. Fred Love is. I read his campaign promises. I really liked it. I'll touch on the first things here. He doesn't believe in this at all. This whole idea that like there's an act in our legislature that is like, let's give these kids private school vouchers, but fuck public schools, right? Because public schools are theoretically a place for all types of people to be like to learn and be enfranchised. Okay, then you have to ask yourself what kind of people go to private school. If they go to private school, why do they go there? They go there because they want to pay for a higher education or because they want to indoctrinate their children. 9 times out of 10, I think it's the latter. And I think that's what this gets to is that why would Arkansas be so driven to put people in public school and not fix the private schools if it weren't because they think it's really important to instill those values into them at a young age and that it would be a better cost for Arkansas to make sure that we're breeding more Christian nationalists um, rather than just making sure everyone's educated well and we have a good functioning strong economy and community. We're moving on. So basically, this goes on, but Fred Love wants to get the money out of private schools in the form of vouchers back into public schools, which just makes sense. Like frankly, it just makes fucking sense. Um, Gotta hurry up. Brain is really losing it. Arkansas public school districts reported significant enrollment drops during the first year. Uh, yeah, basically the first year of the vouchers that they were offered, we were going to put like private schools more. Public schools said they saw a pretty significant dip. Unfucking fortunate. Um, Fiscal analysis published by family policy organizations highlight rising state expenditures associated with the Education Freedom Act voucher rollout. Rising state expenditures associated with this account voucher roll. I see. Hmm. Terrible. A constitutional lawsuit challenging the Learns Act continues through courts, alleging that diversions violate the state's constitution's mandate for public school funding. That's incredible. It's on AP. There's a lawsuit. I don't know who's sort of waging this lawsuit. Let's have a look at this AP article real quick. We got Associated Press. Lawsuit filed challenging Arkansas school voucher program created by 2023 law. There's what's her fucking bitch ass face not giving a shit about Arkansans. Um, All right, four lawsuits challenging the school voucher program created by bitch ass Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Suckabee handlers, more like it. Um, yeah, you're harming educational funding by saying, fuck it, don't go to public schools, go to this other school instead, and we'll just stop funding the public school. The suit filed in state court last Friday seeks to halt the Arkansas Children's Freedom Account Program, which was created under the new law known as the LEARNS Act. The voucher program, which is being phased in, pays for private and homeschooling costs equal to 90% of the state's per student funding for public schools. Arkansas lawmakers set aside $97 million in funding for the program for the upcoming year, with up to 14,000 students expected to participate. The lawsuit claims the program violates Arkansas's constitution by diverting tax money intended to help public schools. Yeah, it's actually really insane. Like, if that money was allocated to schools, just in general, that's why they were able to use it for stuff. Uh, Right. Well, if you have funds that are allocated for schools and then they're somehow diverting them away from public schools and into private school vouchers, I mean, that is just a fuck. That is just um, literally taking the money away from poor people and giving it to rich people or people that are so biased and indoctrinated. Like, my kid can't go to public school. You should be worried about your kid getting shot more than anything else. If that's what you're worried about, then I guess that's fine. I just don't know if private school would save your child. You're just worried about them becoming a liberal or whatever. So I don't know. This is a bunch of bullshit. Arkansans should be mad about this. This is not ideal. But you have some people trying to fight it, and that's good. And I really hope we get Fred Love in the governor's office because I think that he could do a lot of good stuff. We'll see. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that. We got Arkansas morning headlines. I may watch this real quick and then I may just call it good. We'll see how long this is and if it has anything to offer. It's what's her fucking face. I don't want to listen to her talk for a long time. I also hate corporate media. What was that shit?
Morning, and we'll give you another update coming up in a few minutes.
Developing this morning, the U.S. has launched a new round of airstrikes on Iran, targeting more than 80 sites after what officials say were Iranian attacks on commercial ships near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command says the strikes hit air defense systems, command networks, and anti-ship missile capabilities. The Trump administration also reimposing economic sanctions on Tehran, rolling back a key part of the ceasefire agreement that had temporarily eased restrictions.
It doesn't matter if the fucking ceasefire had temporarily eased restrictions on Iran because the ceasefire was never going to happen. Like, it was never going to stay. Israel never intended to respect the agreement. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is like that was never going to happen, and so it was inevitable. I guess the war never ended. Not really. The war chilled out for like a week ish. While we waited for while we waited for Israel to spit in the face of it. So I don't know. Silly. I don't like it. I don't condone it. I don't like war. It's dumb as hell, and we are all gonna pay for it, and they're not going to. So I don't know. I think that's gonna do it for me for today. So we covered. We'll go back over the newsletter real quick just to make sure it looks complete. We covered the sort of escalation of the U.S.-Iran conflict. It's not getting any better. If anything, it's getting worse. Basically, Iran says we're in full-scale war. Trump says for every fucking thing y'all do in this strait, we're gonna fucking take out a bridge or whatever. Gross, chaotic. Okay, did that. Midterms looking pretty good for Troy Jackson, and maybe we salvage the Grand Platter situation. No fucking problem. That's on the table. It's an option. It may just be fine. All right. In Arkansas, the reason I have honestly a big reason why I started to include Arkansas in this podcast, even though I'm a leftist commentator, is I'm an Arkansan leftist commentator, and I think that my perspective is, whether it's valuable or not is irrelevant. I'm entitled to it. I'm entitled to feel the way I do in the state I was born in, and I don't think I should have to adopt conservative values to be technically allowed or supposed to be here. Don't believe in that at all. So that's why I keep up with this stuff, is I want to point out, hey, I know y'all vote red, you vote Republican, you love Republicans. You probably, I don't know, I guess maybe you like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Tom Cotton, and whoever, for reasons I don't fully understand. That's fine. But you should know that they are and continue to sell you out, as in sell Arkansans out, sell farmers out, um, literally sell off mass portions of land to these data centers, um, which is contradictory to any like natural state agenda we might would be pushing. Sort of tourism and nature based agenda is ruined by these fucking data centers theoretically, so that sucks. um yeah. uh Oh, and this too, the school stuff. Yeah, they don't want kids to know stuff. They don't want kids to be smart. They don't want kids to go out into the world, experience many viewpoints, come to their own conclusion that's separate from their parents. It's just like a way to like essentially state sponsor indoctrination. Is basically what I will say about it. I don't agree with it. I went to public school. I would have hated going to private school. I didn't like public school that much either, really, honestly. But it wasn't, the point I'm getting at is I don't believe in indoctrination. I don't believe in missionary work. I don't believe in like telling people how to be because they're so dumb and bad at what they do. Don't believe in that at all, honestly. So yeah, I don't know. Fuck the Arkansas Republican Congress people and politicians. They not only don't care about you, but they actively sign deals and shit just like not giving a fuck how it's gonna affect you or your family or the land or the future generations or nothing. They just don't care. And I feel like I've mentioned this every time I talk almost, but there's a movie called Don't Look Up. It's a very heavy-handed, on-the-nose, very in-your-face satire. Most people have seen it. It was a popular Netflix movie. But I think I love about that movie, or I don't know if I love it, but it is very much something I think worth being aware of, is that certain people get so rich they just are happy theoretically to let the world burn because they somehow think that they're immune to it. They're like, well, I'll just build a rocket and fly away, or I'll have a bunker and goes underground. I don't remember the exact point. My point is that I think that the state subsidizing uh non-public schools essentially, almost certainly, I'm making a theory, but I feel pretty confident about it. Almost certainly to limit Arkansas voices, like um, make it harder to go to school, make it yada yada. Make sure that if you go to school and you go to public school, it kind of sucks, and you kind of feel like, oh man, I wish I had more money. And then you're like, well, if you do capitalism well, then we'll give you a bunch of money, and you can spend all that money on a goddamn church, school, Christian academy membership, and that'll do you good. Uh, other countries don't do this. I mean, I'm not saying no countries do this. I'm saying countries we consider smart and like threats, like China and stuff, they do not do this. They have got a smart workforce that is trained to be smart. It's like important to what they're doing, and I think that's just a core example of a fundamental difference between like say China and America. Someone might say China sucks for whatever reason, but I don't know at what cost. I'm so tired. I gotta be done. My brain ain't working. This is ambitious to even do. I was like, maybe if I'm so fast, I'll get it all out and I won't feel anything. But it is time for me to go to sleep in my brain. It's just like, ugh. So, all right, that's the news for today. I'll be doing this more. I'm gonna quickly, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna go send this out as a Substack newsletter, which I'm gonna do at the end of every stream. So if you want to watch stream and see me say these things, do that. If you want to wait till after stream and receive my little Substack newsletter in your email and read that, do that. But yeah. They will not go out as an email until after I'm done streaming. Right now, it's like close stream. I'm gonna go do it. So understand that you will always get the information first from me, from my mouth, and then I'll post this later. There will be a link I will include in that to the VOD, so that if you basically two birds, one stone. If you don't want to watch the stream, you don't have to. You can read it. If you don't want to read it, you can watch it. And if you fucking and if you're like, I missed it, I wanted to watch it, I didn't see it. The link will be right there in the thing. So you'll and not only that, you'll have my guide, you'll have my reference. You can pull it up yourself if you want to, and say, he's talking about this part. So that's what I wanted to say. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm so fucking tired, man. We're gonna stop this. I'm gonna go send that newsletter out, and yeah, we're gonna start doing a lot on Substack, and essentially trying to sort of like I don't know, combine the intentions of my Facebook with my new YouTube channel. That's the idea. Check me out on Beacons. Check me out on Substack. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and I'll be around. You